Well, if you saw the thumbnail and you were wondering what fragrance was my most favorite fragrance of all time, now you probably guessed right if you know my channel. It's Dior Homme Parfum, this one right here. Absolutely love it. It is my most favorite fragrance, not only in the designer world, but also including everything that is in the niche world, the indie world, the artisanal world, the all-natural fragrance world, Dior Homme Parfum. I receive a lot of questions asking me where you can buy a bottle of this. I'm going to talk to you about this fragrance and answer all your questions about Dior Homme Parfum and let you know why I consider it one of the best fragrances, if not the most amazing fragrance for me, currently very limited on the market. Find out all about Dior Homme Parfum coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yeah, this is my most favorite fragrance. And you know, many people come to my studio asking me what my most favorite fragrance is. Not only coming to the studio, but they message me, email me, you know, ask me by comments asking me what my most favorite fragrance is, and every time I answer them it's Dior Homme Parfum. Whether it's the 2014 version in the 75 ml bottle or the 2020 version in the 100 ml bottle. There's definitely light differences between the two, as I've noticed, but in the end it's mostly the same fragrance and I absolutely love it. It beats out lots of different niche fragrances, lots of different indie fragrances, lots of different artisanal or artisan type of fragrances, and of course including all natural fragrances as well. This to me is a masterpiece and it is my most favorite fragrance, and I cannot live without it. In fact, I have, let's see, how many do I have? So two here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 backup bottles, 7 backup bottles, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 additional bottles of the 100 ml, and then I've got a little bit of the 75 ml in here, and then this is the full bottle, and then I have 3 more of this. So I would say there's 10 bottles of Dior Homme Parfum, 4 total bottles in the 75 ml, and 7 full bottles, well, 6.5, 7 full bottles of the 100 ml. I absolutely love it. So let me tell you a little bit about all the different versions of Dior Homme that came out. For me, I didn't really get into Dior Homme until I first bought a bottle of Dior Homme Intense, going back to 2013 on my travels to France. That is what really started my journey in appreciation for this DNA. But I was never a really big fan of the Dior Homme, the original, and I believe the Dior Homme originally launched in 2005, and then Dior Homme Original launched in 2007. Those were discontinued, and then they launched again, relaunched Dior Homme in 2011 and Dior Homme Intense in 2011. So the versions from 2005 and 2007 I never got to sample. The actual bottles had, I believe, the metallic or kind of metal stems in there. So I never got to sample those, and I hear they're much superior than the original versions. So I'm going to read to you all the different versions of Dior Homme line of fragrances. So in Dior Homme originally launched in 2005, then Dior Homme Intense in 2007, the first Dior Homme Sport in 2008, and I believe there's 4 different versions of Dior Homme Sport. There is a fragrance called Dior Homme Voyage in 2009, never got to sample that. So then Dior Homme relaunched in 2011, Dior Homme Intense also relaunched in 2011, and those are the versions that I got to really familiarize myself when I got into this journey of doing reviews and appreciating and collecting fragrances. And I've had them for a while. Then Dior Homme Sport launched again in 2012, Dior Homme Cologne launched in 2013, and then that was around the time I had just you know, started doing reviews, although I started doing reviews in 2012 when Dior Homme Sport launched, but Dior Homme Cologne in 2013. And then here in the States they launched Dior Homme Eau at Macy's. It was a big launch, and I had just started doing reviews on YouTube and things like that, so it was really interesting. I don't have a bottle of Dior Homme Eau, but I do have the mini gift that they had given me still stored away somewhere. I gotta dig it up. So Dior Homme Eau was a little watery, a little marine take on the original Dior Homme. I don't know if it was a little bit of a combo of Dior Homme Intense or Dior Homme Eau, but I mean Dior Homme Original, but that's the version it was. So the original version of Dior Homme Parfum this right here is that the 75 ml? Yeah, that's the 75 ml. That launched in 2014, and that's when I first bought it. Launched around the end of summer. I bought it at the end of 2014 on my travels to France. Dior Homme Sport 2017 launched in 2017. Dior Homme Parfum 2020 was 2020. Then Dior Homme Original came out in 2021. Dior Homme Sport 2021. Dior Homme Cologne 2022. And there's actually a fragrance called Dior Homme Sport Very Cool Spray. I don't know the launch date of that one. So those are all the different versions of Dior Homme series of fragrances that came out throughout the years. And of course, we've got Dior Homme Parfum here in 75 ml in 2014, and at the 2020 version of Dior Homme Parfum here as well. So definitely it's my most favorite fragrance. It's my most favorite DNA, but the version I really love is the Parfum version. And currently it's selling on Dior's website in France. You can order it if you're there. 136 euros for 100 ml. And that is exactly how much I paid for 3 new bottles that I bought while I was in France. If you caught my Europe haul video back in October, I brought back 3 of these fragrances. Let me tell you who created it. Both of them were created by Francois Demachy, and I don't know why they did that. They relaunched it in 100 ml. I guess they got rid of the 75 ml. I do notice that there's a little bit of a more concentration with the 75 ml. Even better if you can find a bottle of the 75 ml. I'm assuming it's going to be very, very difficult because the 100 ml itself is very, very difficult to find, but Dior.com, or I should say Dior.fr, is selling it online. If you live in France or if you're visiting, order it quickly, pay for fast shipping, order it to your hotel, things like that. So you get it and bring it back with you because it is a very, very sought after fragrance and my all-time favorite fragrance currently. And that's why I'm doing this video, because there's so many questions coming to me. Where can I buy it? Where can I buy it? Is it trustable to buy on eBay? This and that, this and that. So all these questions I'm going to answer for you in this particular video. The other thing is it's so rare to get, and the way I ordered mine, or I didn't order it, I actually bought it, was in Printemps, the department store in Paris, right in the shopping district near the Opera Garnier. I went there and I asked, and the lady pulled it out of the counter in the bottom, the drawer. It was not placed out. It's kind of hidden, almost like you've got like a porn stash that you have to ask for to get, kind of a thing. But they had 4, I bought 3. I should have probably taken all 4, but I'm always thinking about if I have enough room to bring back, and I always have to buy extra suitcases. But what I like about this one is it's a leather. It's an iris powdery leather. It features notes of Florentine iris, Ceylonese sandalwood, of course leather, there's Ambrette seeds, there's Agarwood or oud, there's cedar, there's rose, and a little bit of orange. And the combination is super sexy, very, very intoxicating smell. The leather is beautifully buttery and rich and supple and luxury. Like it smells very, very expensive, and I kind of like that about it. But it also smells like lipstick and leather together, or makeup and leather together. And I always mention this, like I used to play around with my mom's bag, purse as a kid, bored, hanging out with her and her friends, talking and blah blah, go through everything, open things up, smell them, and you know, taking that lipstick and rubbing it all, you know, against that leather purse, and the smell of the leather purse or the bag and the lipstick together kind of is what you get with this particular fragrance. That is what this particular fragrance is all about. It's fantastic. It is to die for kind of a smell, and do anything you can to get a bottle, because I don't know what the I don't know what it's going to be, the status with this particular fragrance. I don't know what they're going to do with it, since it's so hard to get and so hard to find, and even it's not publicly, I shouldn't say publicly, I should say this. I used to see it on Sephora.fr, on their website. It's no longer there. I used to see it on places like Selfridges.com. It's no longer there. It's not been there for at least a good 2 years, around the time when they launched the 2020 version. So prior to that, I did see it on those websites. Now it's not. So it's very, very limited. It's very, like, it probably is because maybe it doesn't have that much of a demand for it, but obviously because it is so difficult to get, there's more of a demand for it. So that's why I'm saying, is it discontinued? Is it going to be around for a long time? I don't know if it will. So that's why I'm thinking, if you can get your hands on a bottle, get it, because I don't know what the status of this is going to be. It's getting very difficult, much more difficult to get than it used to be before. So that's why I'm doing this video, because it is my most favorite fragrance. That's why I have all these backup bottles. It's stored away in a cool, dark, dry place, so I won't ever. Well, I grabbed it out for this particular video, but it's stored away in that dark, dry place, so it's always staying there. It's not humid. It's not cold. I mean, it's cold. It's not like hot and everything, so it's just stored away. I'll pull it out every once in a while, and I have a couple bottles that are out that I wear. Less of the 75 ml version, more of the 100 ml version, because I have more, and also it's a little more readily available than the 75 because the 75 ml version is discontinued. Or been replaced. So is this fragrance discontinued? I don't think it is, especially since it is on Dior.fr. I have a screenshot, check it out, go visit Dior.fr, look for Dior Homme Parfum. You'll see it there. Make sure when you go to the website, it doesn't kind of default to the USA website because it has a habit of doing that. And you'll see that it's selling. If you have a friend, relative, someone visiting, maybe they're staying there for a while, order it for them and have it delivered to their hotel. They'll bring it back to you. I haven't seen it at airport duty frees as well. I've been looking, I've not been able to find it, but prior to the pandemic, prior to the 2020 version, I used to see Dior Homme Parfum all the time. So I feel like once they launched the 100 ml 2020 version of the Parfum, it's much more limited than the original 75 ml version that came out in 2014. I used to see the 2014 version all the time at duty frees and a lot more shops, and just the 2020 version is definitely nowhere to be found. Oh yeah, and I was going to mention that this particular fragrance, the series, never launched in the States. In fact, I don't think Dior Homme Intense even launched in the States. Only Dior Homme, the original, and the Dior Homme Eau launched here, and I feel like Dior Homme Cologne and Dior Homme Sport also launched here. But I don't recall Dior Homme Intense ever launching here. At least maybe I wasn't looking for it when it did launch initially. So these fragrances don't get launched here. I guess maybe they feel like it's too concentrated, too perfumey for the American audience. They don't care for this kind of fragrance. But man, this is super sexy. If you don't know this one, do get it. But I think that's the way to get it. If you are traveling to France, go to the department stores that sell the brand. Ask them. Don't be shy. That's the best way to go. Because I asked, I was buying a few other Dior fragrances, and she pulled it out of the bottom, the drawer, and they were there. I mean, there was 4 of them there. I took 3 of them, as I said, and I'm sure you'll find it as well. I think the department stores like Galeries Lafayette or Printemps, I don't know if there's any other Dior boutiques that sell this fragrance, because they do have standalone perfume shops for the Privé collection, but those stores do not sell the signature line, and this is considered a signature line, but I wouldn't mind it if this went into the Privé collection as a parfum. But I don't know. I don't know what the status will be for this particular fragrance, as I said, but this is the best way to get it. A lot of you have asked me if I'm okay with buying from eBay. I don't know. The way I do my purchasing online all the time is I use my American Express card. I know if there's going to be any kind of a screw up, I have them on my side. I'm not going to take advantage of American Express because I don't want to get screwed up in the future. So I'm honest, they help me out. If there's any kind of a screw up, I bought some fakes. They helped me out. I bought some fragrances that I didn't get everything, and the stores never really even responded. So they've helped me out with stuff like that. And if there's any problem buying from eBay or any store or anything like that, and if you think it's fake, then I would use an American Express so that you can actually dispute the charge and things like that. So I think that, yeah, I mean, that's the only info I can give you on this particular fragrance. Best way is to find it in France because it is selling. As long as you see it on the Dior.fr website, it's still selling. So most likely it will be at the department stores, especially in Paris, where most people that visit France go to. So there, go to the Galeries Lafayette or the Printemps store. That's where I bought these, and ask them, and they'll pull it out. If you have someone doing that for you, if you're not visiting, make sure they go and ask and not just look for it and then, forget about it if they don't find it. Because as I said, I never see it placed out anymore, not for ever since last time I was in Europe, it was in 2019, until after the pandemic was June. I didn't see it, and then this last time, September, October, I did see it, of course, after I asked, because I didn't ask in June. So that's the best way to get this fragrance. It is one of the most amazing fragrances. It is my favorite fragrance, and again, it is my favorite fragrance next to everything else that I own. This is the one that comes up all the time. When someone asks me, what is your favorite fragrance? And I say, this is a very, very difficult task. I can't just name one, but I do name one, and this is the first one that comes up. And it's a great designer fragrance. It's so niche, like it's something that Francois Demachy did such a great job with this, because taking that original DNA and making it into this masterpiece is super fantastic. And again, if you think the 75 ml version, the 2014 version is better, I can see, but for me it has gotten a little thinner, but I think it's still the same particular fragrance. Last thing I'm going to say, if you can't find Dior Homme Parfum, you can totally get away with Dior Homme Intense. It just doesn't have the thickness and the density and the more luxurious feeling of the Dior Homme Parfum compared to Dior Homme Intense, but Dior Homme Intense should be a great alternative for Dior Homme Parfum if you can't find it. If you have Dior Homme Intense, you probably do not need Dior Homme Parfum, because I've heard from folks, they have Dior Homme Intense and they prefer it. It's not as thick, it's not as heavy, it's not as dense, it's not as overwhelming. This is overwhelming. So if you don't like overwhelming fragrances, then if you have Dior Homme Intense, you'll probably be fine with it. But I just think this is one of the best fragrances ever created in the history of fragrances. It's to die for. I don't know if it's to die for, but it's really, really delicious, and my favorite fragrance out of every single fragrance I own. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to create this video so that you understand what my favorite fragrance is, and also answer some of your questions, because I keep getting messages of where to buy. This video will tell you, this will be the guide until they completely discontinue this fragrance. And again, I don't know the certainty of it. I don't know how long it'll be around. Now that Francis Kurkdjian has taken over Dior fragrances, I don't know what he'll do with it. But for now, they have it, and it's on the Dior.fr website. And if it's there, it's still selling, and you can get it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Guys, when I read the list, I forgot to include Dior Homme 2020. So there's actually an additional fragrance that I forgot to list in that list, or name in that list. It's Dior Homme 2020, and it's completely different than Dior Homme Original. Look, I put a 2020 on here so that I can remember it's 2020, and if I have my assistant at the office or studio when I'm doing consultations and I tell her to grab the 2020, she'll grab me the 2020 and know which one it is. But Dior Homme Original is the original of the 2011 version. Dior Homme 2020 and Dior Homme Original are completely different fragrances. If you are looking for the Dior Homme Original and you end up buying the 2020, which is like this, they're going to smell completely different. So if you're looking for the iris, fresh, kind of musky and citrusy, a little ambery version in the original, and you get this, which turns out to be completely woody, and I think it's cedar, and there's some freshness there. I believe they're using ISOE Super. You're going to be disappointed if you were looking for the iris one. So they're completely different. And I don't know why Dior decided to do this. Dior Homme 2020, I don't even know if it sells in Europe. I believe it was made especially for the American market, because maybe they thought that Dior Homme Original was not doing well. But, you know, I don't hate the fragrance itself, the Dior Homme 2020, but I don't think it's as good as the original. And of course, it's nothing like Dior Homme Parfum, which is my absolute favorite fragrance. So they haven't done anything else with Dior Homme 2020, and it makes it very, very confusing, and people end up buying the wrong fragrance, and they look for the original, they end up with this, and they're like, this is not smelling anything like what people talk about on YouTube and things like that. So be careful with that. And if you're looking for the fragrance here, I don't think original sells here at all. The original is great. It smells great. It's a fresher. It's the original version. It's just a fresh iris, musky, powdery, a bit citrusy, woody fragrance. And this particular version, as I said, it's just woods. It's a fresh, woody fragrance. It's solid. It's definitely solid. just not anything like the original fragrance. And I don't really gravitate for this one too much unless when a client comes in and says they want to smell something woody fresh for men. I do show them this. Anyway, just wanted to highlight that I forgot to read about or mention this one when I was doing the list of fragrances, that all the different versions of Dior, and it is out there and it is selling, Dior Homme 2020. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching today. Have a good one. Bye.